Throughout the Great Lakes region, we are very familiar with cattail. Cattail are in every roadside ditch. They are in many wetlands, retention ponds, and what have you.
Oftentimes when you see a children's book and there's a drawing of a wetland, it'll have a cattail in it, like 9 times out of 10.
But there is a invasive cattail from Europe that has hybridized with our native cattail to create a monster cattail, if you will. Really, it has invasive species properties where it takes over wetlands and it pushes out native plants, native birds, native fish species, native amphibian species. We are at the Shasi National Wildlife Refuge near Saginaw, Michigan. And we are here because we are at our research study where we are going to be investigating invasive cattail management at a restoration practical scale.
This site was less than 20 years ago corn and soybean fields, and the hydrology has been restored to it, so it is now in a wetland condition. When you add water back to an agricultural field, though many of the wetland conditions will recover and recovered quickly, the plant community largely became dominated by invasive species right away. So it's kind of the ideal conditions for the proliferation of large emergent aquatic plants like invasive cattail. Over the last 10, 15 years, we've been working on developing different management strategies for invasive cattail, trying to figure out the best way to target this plant and knock back its dominance without the use of chemical herbicides.
We have found that effective cattail management involves the removal of above ground biomass. So the standing above ground biomass that is going to be growing in these invaded wetlands is going to actually be harvested by a low impact wetland harvester, and we pull that biomass off of the wetland site. It's basically like mowing grass.
Harvesting the cattails and removing their biomass allows a lot more light penetration into the wetland and removes a thick layer of thatch that accumulates over time, and that promotes the germination and growth of native plant species.
We have a big issue because when we are harvesting cattail biomass, there's a lot of it and no one wants it. We don't really have many great uses for it. We don't want to be transporting invasive species off-site. So we are also integrating in our research questions the production of biochar.
We're going to be taking the biomass that we've harvested, converting it to this stable form of carbon, and then adding it back to the wetland. Our preliminary work has demonstrated that the biochar addition to wetland soils can decrease the competitive ability of the invasive cattail. So the invasive cattail uses nutrients very effectively, and with biochar addition, we are seeing in the lab that this is preventing the cattails from having access to a lot of that excess nutrients. The biochar is highly charged, and nutrients can absorb and get stuck to it, thus preventing the movement into the cattails. Additionally, this biochar is a form of recalcitrant carbon, so we will be increasing the carbon storage of this wetland, which is very an important consideration in light of climate change and all that we need to do to reduce the amount of carbon in our atmosphere.
That production of biochar is going to be taking this missing piece of the restoration story and trying to develop ways to reduce its volume through production of biochar, and also create an amendment that will have potentially beneficial soil properties when we add it back to our soil systems.
We think that we've demonstrated that harvesting is really an effective method to increase the biodiversity and the habitat complexity in these sites that are invaded by cattail. So we will be conducting a series of different experimental harvesting methods on this site over the next several years?
So working with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service is really rewarding for not only us as researchers, but for the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service as well. Our research team is really trying to think about practical solutions with evidence to be able to make management decisions. And it's a very challenging thing to do. It seems very easy to talk about here, just like, oh, you can just have evidence-based solutions, but you need researchers and collaborations and partnerships to really do that scientific work to be able to make those connections with a active solution-based approach that can then be a showcase piece to hopefully inform management in the future. Best part of my job is working with students because they really bring a lot of the energy and the curiosity and the interest in a lot of the research questions that they are going to be involved in. Through our management efforts, through conservation and restoration, we are trying to take a very proactive, solution-oriented approach to helping to improve that biodiversity through the different methods that we're trialing here at Shiawassee National Wildlife Refuge.